Hi everyone. Have you ever wondered about thinking and language? More specifically, whether you think differently in your native language and in the second language that you learn, or possibly the third language. Research shows that the more advanced you are in your second language, the more different the thinking processes, and more specifically, different associations with the same things. Different associations with the same things. The research which I carried out, the preliminary research, was described in my book, The Switchboard Theory of Second Language, and I carried out quantitative research. There were several dozen subjects, and believe me or not, but many of the associations with the same things, were different in the native language, which is Polish, and with English, which is their second language. And like I have said, the more advanced the person, the more the associations are different. To give you a few examples, is the sentence true or false? There is life after death, right? So in Polish, there were more than 50% of affirmative answers, and in English, more than 60%. So this was a statistically significant difference. So we don't know for what reasons, but probably because different experiential histories, the people could have read more books about afterlife in English than in Polish, or whatever the reason might be. We don't know, but we do know that some people associate in Polish and English life after death with either positive or negative responses. Now, some pretty obvious example. Give me an example of a city or of a politician. You could guess that when the people were asked in Polish, then they would give Polish names or rivers or mountains, and in English they would give English names. Now, what is interesting, if you, for example, give an example of an animal, 20% of the Polish responses were dog. And in English, the same people, as much as almost 50% associated animal with dog. Is it because they have seen families with dogs more through English, for example, watching English movies, than through Polish, where many of them perhaps don't have dogs, they have other pets or don't have any pets at all? Why do you work? Why do you work? In Polish, 50, more than 50, 52% answered that they work in order to get money. And the same people, as much as 72% said they work in order to get money. In Polish, this was also like to get satisfaction, to get to just to be happy. They can't imagine not doing anything. So with money in English, the same people have bigger associations, stronger associations with money. And the last example I would like you I would like to give you. So what is the head of state? The head of state, and in Polish, many people said something like president, and the same people in English, politician, or in Polish, quite a few people said Kaczyński, which is in Poland the leader of the ruling party, and those people said something like foreign names, Tony Blair or George Bush, because at that time he was the head of state. So this is the result of my quantitative research. I also carried out qualitative research. So the first quantitative research was described in my book. Once again, I show you the switchboard theory of second language, and the qualitative was described in my second book on this topic, Associative Shifts in the Bilingual Mind. And here you had even more interesting responses, the differences. Obviously, the Polish responses were more related to personal experiences. For example, what do you associate family with? In Polish, it was more like my hometown or my home. right? And love. And in English, it was more associated with like something like relationships, or perhaps something like a house. A house. So pretty different associations in quite many cases. And what do you associate patriotism with? The Polish responses would be something like they imagined the map of Poland. And the same people in English just associated with a country. So pretty different associations there. And what do you associate Poland with? So what's interesting is that in Polish, the association very often, not all the people, but very often, the association was with the Pope, Polish Pope, John Paul II. And in English, the same people never associated Poland with Pope. So something like a country would be the typical response. So do we have different associations in the second language from those in the first language? The answer is partly yes, and the more advanced you are, the more your associations are different. Conclusion: when you teach a foreign language, especially when you write materials in a foreign language, it is not true that it doesn't matter what the lesson is about, right? It does matter because alongside the language, you are also communicating content which will enter the cognitive structure of your student or yourself if you are choosing readings for yourselves. So not only are you acquiring the language, but you are also extending your cognitive structure, which is responsible for your associations and possibly thinking processes.